So now I want to show you a framework called the Infinite Content Creation Framework. And this is something that myself and Wiz and all the clients we have use to never ever run out of ideas or content for you to write and post on X. So let's start by getting into the creator mindset. So in order to become a creator, you've got to transform from a consumer to a creator. So before you even start trying to come up with content, you need to switch your mindset to that creator mode. Most people, I'd say all people, including myself, start as a consumer. They don't make anything, they just digest it. So TikTok, videos, tweets, Instagram posts, YouTube videos, it's just mindless consumption. Now, before I get into telling you how to get away from that consumption mindset, you need to understand that it's not about ditching consumption, it's about reframing it. So you have to understand that every single thing you do in life is consumption. The people you talk to at the gym, the conversations you overhear in public, the messages on social media, every single thing is consumption. But we need to make a switch from mindless consumption to active consumption. And this is the process that you're going to follow to switch from mindless consumption to active consumption. So the first thing you want to do is you want to start consuming with purpose. So you want to shift the way you consume. Instead of mindless consumption, engage with content that inspires, educates, or helps you grow. Analyze that content that you consume. Ask yourself, this is the most important part. You have to ask yourself, how was this made? What can I learn from this? And then once you start watching and consuming things with that question in mind, what can I learn from this? You subconsciously ingrain it into your mind. And every little thing then you consume, whether it be conversations, listening to something on the radio, whether it be watching TikToks, you always have that question, what can I learn from this, in your mind, and you start digesting it without even thinking. Second thing you want to do is establish clear goals. So reflect on why you want to create. Is it to express yourself? Is it to solve a problem? In this case, if you're building a personal brand, it's more to solve a problem and build up a community. So knowing your why can fuel your motivation. And then you want to set small, achievable targets that lead you to your larger goal. And then the last thing you want to do is seek feedback. So obviously you want to share your work with others, even if it's not perfect. Constructive feedback can provide valuable insights and improve your creations. So you want to link with other creators if you can. It doesn't have to be massive creators, it can be people on your level or below your level. Share your work with each other, ask for feedback, validation, and approval. Gotta help each other grow. Okay, so consuming with a purpose. The most important point here before you can develop that creative mindset is consumption with purpose. Why do you watch TV? To be entertained. There's no further reason. But when you switch to consuming with a purpose, you can now watch TV to be entertained, but you can also derive thousands of messages from whatever you're watching to stitch into your own opinions and takes, which then become content on your profile. So most people think that you just need to ditch the consumer mindset as a whole to become a creator. But all of our creations ultimately come from consumption. So you just need to switch from the mindless scrolling to consuming with a purpose of being educated. How do you do that? Let me go back. You ask yourself the question when you're consuming, what can I learn from this? How to never run out of things to say. You've probably all wondered how these creators keep pushing out content every single day without running out of ideas. It's because they all follow this one simple content creating rule in life. They get off the internet, they go and do cool things. There's a bunch of different ways to come up with ideas for your content. You can read a bunch of books, you can look at what other people are talking about, or you can watch a ton of YouTube videos. And again, there's a bunch of other ways, but the best way to come up with unique, authentic content, which is something you need for a personal brand, is to go outside and experience different things. You dissect what you learn from these unique experiences, and then you turn it into content. I find it really hard to sit at my desk and force out some amazing content. So most of my content comes from when I'm in the gym, talking to people and lifting. Some people get their best ideas out walking in nature. Some people get theirs when they're on podcasts, etc. So you need to stop trying to force these amazing pieces of content, and you need to go out and live life day by day so you can enable these unique digestions. And that's what people want. They want uniqueness. Nobody wants to read the same thing over and over again. They want unique takes, new information, new experiences. And you won't get that if you sat at home trying to get the next best tweet using TikTok videos or podcasts. People ultimately follow you as a person because of your unique takes. And you develop those unique takes when you go out and experience things for yourself, not by just consuming them through a screen and watching YouTube videos. So now I want to talk about repurposing your content. So repurposing your content is such a good way to create new content by breathing some life into your old content. Repurposing can be done in two ways. actually repurposing your old content by changing it, or repurposing through dissection. Now, repurposing through dissection means treating that piece of content or your old piece of content as a piece of content that you're going to actively consume. So treating it not like yours. Just like we talked about in the past slide, you read your own old content, form your own opinions, and then post the new takes. This creates an endless loop of content creation because as a human, you're always evolving and developing. So you can read your old content from a year ago, form your new opinions, because obviously you can have the new opinions on some different stuff, and then post that. And then in a year from now, you repurpose the content that you post today. So you're always evolving. On the right, you can see all the ways you can repurpose your content by physically changing it. So this would be repurposing it by physically repurposing it. So you can turn your tweets into threads. So expand on a popular tweet by adding more context, details, or related thoughts in a thread format. Do visual content, so convert popular textual tweets into graphics or quote cards. You can also use the mind maps too. Highlight user responses. So if an old tweet garnered significant engagement or interest in replies, dissect the replies and talk on them. Rephrase or reposition. So reintroduce the content with a different angle or rephrasing just to make it fresh. So if you can't say anything new, you just re-angle it. And you can share milestones or throwbacks. So that means resharing old tweets, marking specific milestones, anniversaries, or on this day type throwbacks. So it could be when you hit your first 100,000 followers, when you made your first money online, when you hit your first 1,000 followers. It can be every single year. I would recommend doing that, or every single month, or whatever it is. So now let's talk about inspiration and how you can get it without plagiarizing. So the worst act you can commit on X is plagiarism. There's absolutely nothing worse than blatantly ripping off someone else's post, because that's their own unique take and their own personal beliefs. So one, it's not your take. And two, you just rob them of it. I'm not even talking about directly copying and pasting. I'm talking about saying the exact same thing, but with a few different words, especially if they've just posted it too. So you need to learn how to take inspiration from people for your own content without directly copying them or ripping off their content too. So here's how you do it. So follow a diverse amount of accounts. So follow people from various industries, backgrounds, and perspectives. Exposure to a wide array of thoughts can inspire unique ideas. Keep an eye on the trends. So look what's trending this week or this month. See what's on the trending tab. Apply some active consumer mindset and post your own takes. And then analyze successful tweets. So look at the tweets, yours or other tweets, that gain significant engagement. Think about why they worked and how you can create content around that similar theme without directly copying. And then engage in conversations. Engage with tweets that intrigue you by replying, asking questions, or starting a discussion. Conversations often spark fresh ideas. That's how I get most of my new content. So that is exactly how the Infinite Content Creation Framework works.